Shay. Grand Rising, everyone. And I know that this is pre recorded, but this is the best way for us to do this because we are healing on this call. We are definitely going to heal on this call, and we're going to provide ways by way of personal experience how we balance through the midst of turmoil, through the midst of any pandemic while being Black or Brown, um, whether it's COVID or, whatever we face in everyday life. So again, I want to thank everybody. I want to welcome everybody for coming. My name is Tori. I'm the visionary and founder of National Sponge Works, also known as New. And if you allow me, just to spread our mission, just to let you know what we do and what we're about. National Expungement Works, known as NEW, is a shift to emancipate justice impacted communities which have been exploited by systemic inequities and injustices. We believe that whatever is allowed to be expunged, sealed, reclassified, set aside in your state, you should be able to show up and address that. We build to restore pathways for generational healing and wealth through our holistic year-round programming, which offers legal relief for free, wraparound services for free, and advocacy for more expanded access to expungement. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys for joining, and I'm excited. If you don't know, this is Queen Afi from Domestic Violence, Wears Many Tags. She has been with us for 3 years now, and I wanted to just introduce to her like this dope concept of just knowing that we're not alone in different cities and states, which she already knows because she's national. But I was like, no, I really want to bring this dope. Like, I'm gonna shut up and just let you hear. And so I want to bring to you all a conversation what Queen Afee likes to call, a dinner table, dinner talk conversation, because you got to eat sometimes to digest these things. So, Queen Afee and Robin Barkins, I'm going to let you guys introduce yourself, and we're going to talk about how domestic violence wears many tags and how it starts from within the home sometimes, and how we then pour that out onto other people and into the communities.
My voice is a little gone because I talk too much. But anyway, peace and love, everybody out there. It's a pleasure to be back again to have another conversation about domestic violence, including with mental health, of course, because you really can't have one without the other at this point. So I'm grateful to be back and share today. Thank you.
Thank you, Queen. Robin.
Hey everybody, my name is Robin Barkins, and well, I wear many hats as well, but I'm here looking forward to share and just sharing, and hopefully our experience spark conversations at the dinner table to raise awareness around the importance of having conversations about, like, okay, such and such has been touching my daughter, and we need to address this instead of saying no, not believing it, or we need to start having these uncomfortable conversations, and we need to start believing people, because we have predators right there at our kitchen table, right in our homes, right in our environments. So we have to teach our daughters and teach our children how to identify those things, because we was taught not to say anything. But now, since everything and all that with the social media and things just so in your face, we need to really teach our children the language, whether, because we always shelter. I feel like in education, in these instances, like good touch, bad touch, and all that stuff is kind of like taboo, is not talked about, but it's supposed to be talked about, because there's predators out there that like taboo talk, and they get off from that. So we need to know how to address different signs of that. So excuse me, I don't want to overshare, but yeah.
I'm not mad. I'm gonna bring Queen back in so you guys can share this dialogue, because I think a lot of times it's so different when you have, you know, a son and a daughter. Sometimes, like, it's looked at so differently. With your daughter, you want to find ways to protect your daughter, like you said, Robert. But then sometimes, when daughters speak out, nobody knows how to protect the daughters, right? And then you have, your sons, and your sons don't speak out at all because they're automatically told, to be a man, or you're being a man. And so they don't know what's really, physically happening to them, or even mentally or emotionally happening to them. And then a lot of other pieces go into, pacifying us in this situation, in the moment, whether it's money, whether it's toys, whether it's food. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait for you guys to just, I'm gonna shut up. I love y'all.
Well, when we talk about domestic violence and those many tags that it wears, first we're going to start with verbal abuse, because a lot of things that we say to each other is meant to be cruel, is meant to hurt. And one of those examples is, I brought you into this world, I take you out. We have no business telling our little children that. No business telling our little children that, because they perceive it as a threat. They don't perceive it as love. You confuse them when you start saying, oh, I said that because I love you. What? That don't sound nothing like you love me. That sound like you will kill me. Okay? You know what I mean? And it doesn't allow them to really understand emotionally, which is the second tag, emotionally, who they are, and who they're destined to be, when we start saying little smart comments that we was raised up under, that it didn't make you feel good. So why you sitting there telling the same thing to your children? If it hurts you, it's going to hurt them too. But I understand the cycle continues. That verbal abuse continues. at our dinner table because, you know, you look at yourself and say, well, I ain't so bad. But if you really look deep within, your communication skills is on 50%. 50%. And that's for the women too, who don't know how to communicate emotionally what it is that they actually feel, or what it is they actually want to say emotionally, right? So people say, you know, women are so emotional or girls are so emotional. They don't know what they want to say. It's true in a sense, but if we start educating our children at their dinner table on the correct verbiage, we can have a lot more people feeling free to say what it is that they feel. And of course, there's financial abuse is the third tag, where, you know, victims are in this situation with somebody being the breadwinner, whether it's the victim or the abuser. Either way, the abuser is going to man, you know, the funds of the household. Will run over you, take your money, take your car, spit in your face, drive your car, smack you, stomp you, all that, and get in your car and drive it. Drive all your gas out 5 days a week, your gas gone. You know, or put a lock on your refrigerator and say what you can and cannot eat, or what you can and cannot feed your children. You know, or there's some cases where the victim is constantly pregnant. She has one baby after another, you know, and that is to keep the victim financially depleted and trapped in that relationship. And that victim could be a male or a female, because we have a lot of women that get pregnant on purpose. And that man could be saying, look, baby, I already got 7 children, man. I don't need no more children. But you getting pregnant anyway. You know, if somebody tell you that, you need to respect that. That's going to be a more healthier relationship, as opposed to financially, you know, depleting the family, having one baby at the next, trying to keep somebody in the relationship. And it really does. So when we say, just leave, when we telling that man, just leave, or when we telling that female, just leave, where are they going to go? You know, when the finances are all gone, where are they going to go? They got 3 children that they got to feed. It's hard times to do that. You know, a lot of times the abuser don't want the victim to work, or always causing the victim to lose their job. So where are they going to go? That's why we have to be careful when we tell somebody, just leave the relationship. That's not a good thing to advise a woman or a male victim. And then, of course, we have sexual abuse, like Sis was saying. Having that conversation at that dinner table about good touch, bad touch. We need to get more fluent with that. Y'all got to stop being scared to tell your story about what happened to you, because you think it's going to happen to your child. You think you jinxing the children by telling your story. You're not. You jinxing them when you don't tell. You jinxing them when you don't tell your story to your children about sexual abuse and who that predator is in the family. You jinx the children when you sit up and sugarcoat at the dinner table who the predator is. You jinxing the children like that. But if you can have a real open conversation about good touch, bad touch, and about who these predators are, you're going to come off a lot better than not telling them. And of course, there's physical abuse. Physical abuse is going to be the last tag, because a lot of times the abuser don't have to hit the victim. You know, and I was the victim and the abuser, so I know this personally. Ain't nobody got to tell me, okay? I don't have to put my hands on you as the abuser. I'm just all up in your psyche. I run your thoughts. I run your feelings. I run your money. I run you sexually. And physically, I don't want to put my hands on you. I don't. A lot of times I can just look at the victim and they'll straighten up. They'll get it together. Or I can make a threat or two. Or maybe in secret, I may have already strangled you. But let me tell you something. One thing's for certain, 2 things for sure. I love the Lord, I do. But when that victim, when that abuser, male or female, is on you, strangling you, honey, didn't nobody let you up but that abuser. That's how you got up. You got up because the abuser let you up. Then there could be at any moment in time where I don't let you up. I can literally take your life from you. And I know that I can, because I'm in your mind. I'm in your emotional. I'm your security. You loyal to me, even though you know I strangled you and held you down there for at least a minute, at least 30 seconds to a minute. I held you down there. But I decided to let you up. I decided to let you up. See, so you know, God is good and you know his mercies are great. But that abuse will let you up. Don't get it twisted no more. You got to get out of a relationship like that. You cannot stay in something like that because you're going to die. Period.
Shay, Quinn, I know you're going to tap back in because you can from experience. Robin, I know that you heard Queen say, you know, it's one of those it's easier said than done. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, as your support system, like we can say leave, you know what I'm saying? But like, where you gonna go to our house? So I get it 101%, you know what I'm saying? And do we have a backup plan, you know, if they come to the house? So when you talk about being prepared and you just talk about, you know, overall life story, like when I wake up and when I start to strategically say, I want better or I'm going to do this, Robert, can you touch in and just be like what does that balancing look like? Like, you know, if you know the signs, whether it's within yourself or someone that you love, like what does that full complete circle look like?
You talking about in an intimate partner relationship?
Shay.
And we talking about red flags, right? Healthy signs.
No, we're talking about red flags because again, like if if I was leading support, and that's something that I learned with Queen, she was like, you know, like, do you understand the harm that you do when you tell somebody, I see what they're doing to you, so you need to go? Like, if we're not talking out a plan or, you know, like what does that look like? Should I stop saying that? Like, you know, should I shut up? You know, like.
Well, everybody experiences different. And for me, I was quiet because I knew how to keep secrets because I was sexually molested from 11 to 15. And I used to get paid to be quiet, you know, so I knew how to keep secrets. So when I experienced this domestic violence relationship, you know, in my 30s, I didn't tell nobody. I ain't call nobody. You know, I told my mom I complained, but I ain't go nowhere. You know, friends, they called. One friend say, oh, he must got some good dick. You ain't leaving. You ain't beat his ass. What's going on? What you dick with? He was like, what's happening? You know, this dude pulled, you know, and my thing was, all right, we met online and came to find out he had just got out of prison. And I was like, I put on my cape. I'm like, I could fix that. I know how to help him re-enter in society, I'm resourceful. He can get his ID in no time. But he came with, but anyway, so I thought I could fix him. And, you know, one thing led to another, and I didn't disclose my HIV status to him. You know what I'm saying? And I told my friends, so when we went out, me and my friends, we had went out and they were like, so did you tell them, you know, you were HIV positive yet? Because a lot of my close friends aren't positive. So we always have talks about HIV, you know, all the time. So for me, when I get a partner, you know, it's like, well, did you tell them? You know, so, and what's that's like? So we have those conversations. So I say, no, I didn't tell them yet. They was like, well, you'll tell them when it's time. So I'm like, you know what? You're right. So one night we had sex and he felt very, very inspired. And he wanted me to get a tattoo. So he came out the bathroom and he grabbed my right arm. And my right arm, I have a tattoo on my right arm. It's a ribbon and a butterfly and it says survivor, if you can see it, you know. And he grabbed it. He said, AIDS? I said, no, you know, like, I said, I've been living with HIV. I think I was HIV positive for like 18 years at the time. And, and he choked me. He grabbed me by the neck. He said, bitch, you got AIDS? I said, no, I got HIV. So that motherfucker grabbed me and pushed me in the closet. And then I called my friend. I say, look, I finally told the motherfucker, and he tripping. I said, you at the emergency room, because my friend worked at the hospital emergency room. So he can go in California, you can go to the emergency room within 72 hours. You can tell them you've been exposed to HIV, and they can give you some PEP. So that's all he had to do. So I told my friend, I said, I told her what was going on. She said, well, is he gonna come? He said, get over here and ride this dick. That HIV pussy good. So we just went off to the races with it, right? So we just kept doing it and kept, doing our thing. But then the abuse started. And I made the excuse that because I didn't disclose, it was the right thing for him to abuse me, and I justified it, and I didn't call anybody. And it went on for 86 days. If I look at pictures, I can recall like pictures of when he pulled my hair out and I had bald spots. He pulled he tried to pull the bottom of my lip off. It was a lot of things that he did to me that I didn't tell nobody that he did to me. And I'm crying right now because my mentor on the phone, and I used to tell her everything. And I didn't tell her that for 86 days, the things that I was experiencing in that relationship, and the things and the torture that I had to go through, and the humiliation that I felt for those 86 days being in that relationship. It made me, it aged me. It aged me to the point where when I looked in the mirror, I seen lines in my face, like I was aging from that relationship. It was stressing me out so bad, and I finally had enough. February 26, 2017, he knocked me unconscious. I told that motherfucker, you can get out of my house and you can go by that bitch house. And I walked out the room. He knocked me unconscious. He sucker punched me from behind because I wasn't paying attention. He knocked me unconscious and my face was disfigured. I had a hole in my face to where I could stick my tongue through my face. It would come out the side of my face. And I'm glad to still have my teeth, but he knocked me unconscious. But and I had a concussion for a while from that. It left me with some serious damage from that hit. And I lived in silence through that until one day I just finally came out with it. Because I was ashamed, because I was always this tomboy. I cut a motherfucker. If a motherfucker ever touch me, and here I go, let this dumb motherfucker put his hands on me. And I just felt humiliated. I felt embarrassed. I couldn't face nobody, and it took me a while to get myself back. I had to rebuild myself. I had to forgive myself, and I had to go through some therapy. I had to do some things to really get me together. And I'm not ashamed to say I had to go to therapy for domestic violence, therapy for grief, different things like that. But it took a lot out of me, because after he knocked me unconscious, I was still sneaking inside the jail to go see him. So I wasn't over with him just yet. I was still sneaking in there. I just couldn't get enough until one day when he was sitting in a jail cell and he was talking shit to me in front of all these dudes, and I was on the street and he was locked up. I said, you know what? You got me fucked up. And that was it. That was a wrap. And that's when I finally realized my worth. Like, you better than that. Because he was fine. He was real handsome. I was like, wow, that's going to be my husband. But he was toxic, and all the signs was there. He beat his sister up when they were kids. He broke his sister ribs. She used to go to school with black eyes. His dad was abusive to his mom. He came from a real abusive family. His sister told me. He told me. And I was just like, just so infatuated. I got this man, somebody young like me. Because I was with Javier for so long. He was an older man. Javier was 33 years older than me. And it was a different feeling for me to have someone within my age range. And I was like, wow, it was different. So I put up with some stuff that I shouldn't have. I'm gonna put it like that. So yeah.
It was nothing that your support system could do, because guess what? He was like, come jump back on this dick.
Mm-hmm.
It was a wrap. You know what I'm saying? It was a wrap. And I'm just saying that from the perspective of knowing that I've been that support system before, and also knowing that I've needed that type of support system before. Right. So it's like I'm on like both ends, like of just understanding that I can honestly say, like, Rob and I have never counted the days. You know what I'm saying? And to know that you counted.
I did. I counted the days, and I never stopped counting the fucking days. I counted them by days. If I forgot, I started counting by weeks, backtracking them. Make sure I had the days down. Yeah, it was serious for me. I really counted those days.
Oh Lord. Heavy. Robert, every time she count them days, boy, that thing. I'm like, why didn't I, like, should I have counted days for myself? Should I have counted days for somebody else? Like, it just resonates, because I don't know if I told y'all this, but I got a cousin. I'm here in Philly right now. I got a cousin. It's been 6 years since he's been gone. He was told to fight for his marriage and be a man, and all types of stuff, and he ended up taking his life, because his wife cheated on him. She was abusive. She kept having babies, and then some days she would say, how the baby's yours, all types of stuff to my cousin. And a little background about my cousin Robbie. He was actually adopted into our family. So even when he got older, we were in a quest of trying to find, help him find his family, because he wanted to connect to his family. And by that time, he had connected to his family, and I'd be damned, like, she slept with his real brother. You know what I'm saying? So he went through so much, you know what I'm saying? Like, so much mentally, like, sometimes you could be like, I'm a suicide survivor, you know what I'm saying? But there's other people that, like, they really did it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they completed the mission, so I don't know if, I'm supposed to look at my cousin like, he was brave. I don't know how to tap into that. So that really messes me up.
Well, men hurt too. Men hurt too. And we got to start having a well-rounded conversation when we talk about domestic violence. The CDC has took the survey of men, 4.2 million men are victims of domestic violence through physical, sexual, and stalking behavior. So where do men go, to say I'm the victim of domestic violence? It's really hard, really hard for men to say that. Really hard for men to say that. And for them to see themselves as a victim of domestic violence is even more shocking to have to deal with, because everybody tell you, you don't be weak, you got to be strong, and it don't matter what she do to you, you just walk away, don't pay her no attention, she gonna get it together. Let me tell you something. Women kill men, period. Whether they do it physically, they don't do it a lot physically. They don't physically do it. But let me tell you what, they emotionally and verbally kill men, their own sons in the womb. Kill them, right? And so, yeah, men end up committing suicide. It could be unbeknownst to, maybe it was a mother. who, abused the son, or the family members abused him. And then as you go on, sometimes the brain unconsciously attract that woman that you grew up with, depending on where it started at in that young man's life. And so he ended up in a relationship that was like his mother that abused him, or somebody that abused him, or somebody that, put him down, wasn't that confidant for men. A lot of times we're not that confidant for men. We give them the short end of the stick when it comes to their self-esteem. We just expect them to be muscular. And let me tell you something, for a man, look, you was born a man, okay, if that's the case, all right? So there's some masculinity there. That's not even on the table here. We talking about that man's emotional and how he feel emotionally. We're not talking about his toxic masculinity. We're not even talking about that. Is something completely different from emotional abuse. When that young man is sitting there being called all kind of names, dumb, stupid, you a bum like your father. This man don't even know his father. You ain't even never tell him who his father was, but he a bum like his father, really? We say a lot of things to our young boys that we don't have no business saying. But you would say, don't say that to that little girl now. You might damage her self-esteem. Don't say that to her. You might talk down on her self-esteem. But we don't say that about the young men. We do not coach them. We do not build them up from a self-esteem perspective like we are supposed to. We expect young men to be born strong, born wise, and have no feelings towards nothing. And it's just not right. It's just not right. And we're going to continue to have our young men commit suicide because of some downgrade within their self. Something is going on emotionally within their self. And when you got your wife or that person who love you tearing you up like that inside, yes, that man can go off and kill himself. Yes, he can. And it could be due to the strongholds of domestic violence. And no, he didn't call 911 and report his wife, because what man does that? I mean, that's the problem that we have in trying to get men on the card to be covered for domestic violence, because men don't call and report their cases of domestic violence. That's the issue that we're having in America with getting men the resources and the support that they need to get the help to be able to devise their plan, to have an exit strategy to get out these relationships. So yes, we're going to continue to have more men commit suicide, and we also have it where men end up killing. They could end up being the predator in the end, because they've dealt with so much abuse towards them. So they find it that, okay, let me just take this person out. Something snaps, and it snaps on the person. And with that snapping part, it can snap on somebody who's not the abuser, but may appear to be, or sound like the abuser, or have those triggers that the abuser remind that man of, and they snap on that person who don't even have nothing to do with the abuse, but it's just triggers there that men don't know. It's a lot of brothers that don't know their triggers. It's a lot of brothers that don't know what upset them, what gets them angry, how to take 10 seconds and calm down. It's a lot of brothers because we do not teach them these strategies at the dinner table. So don't get mad at that young man when you know you're not teaching him the right way in terms of his emotional wellness and being emotionally intelligent at that dinner table. Because we want men to just, get over it. Suck it up. You good. I got 2 sons. Never will I tell my sons to suck it up, get over it. Never will I tell them that. Never will I disrespect them and their emotional wellness and tell them, oh, you a bum like your daddy. Never am I going to do that to my sons. We say some horrible things. And I hear you. I hear you doing it to your sons. We say some horrible things to our sons, and then we expect them to be such fine young gentlemen when we don't put nothing in them to be fine young gentlemen. And one of those things that we got to start doing is allowing our young men to have that safe space to share what they go through in relationships as it pertains to women and men that are in their life that they feel like don't treat them well. So I'm sorry, excuse me, I had to go there because it's just wrong.
Ashay, Ashay, Ashay. I, I, I actually know why you had to go there. Um, you had to go there because you're still raising your sons so that you no longer have to hear another smiley story come into your ear, come into your presence. And I know that I just did it recently in August for my friend Sam, whose 18-year-old daughter was shot and killed by her boyfriend in August. And I came running to you like right away while still trying to respect, your August, like I was trying to respect my August because we both lost our daughters, in August. So, and my daughter was, she was 6 weeks, but mm-mm, your baby wasn't. Your baby wasn't.
It still hurt. It don't matter how old they are. It still hurt to lose a child.
That's shit.
And yes, our children, they get so grown, they smell themselves. My 19-year-old daughter, she thought she knew and thought she had a winner, but I know she ain't a winner. I'm looking at them. I'm checking them out. Okay. I can discern way better than you can. And not only that, your mother was the victim and the abuser. So I know both of y'all, and when you trying to share that with your young people, they go off and do what they want to do anyway. They say their story gonna be different from mine. My daughter thought her story would be different from mine, but you trusted a guy who shot you in your head while you was holding your daughter, y'all daughter together, y'all baby girl, 2 months old, and I was telling my son, my daughter never raised her head up and was like, what you doing? Her head was down looking at her baby, and he came and did that. So this man just pulled a fast one on you. Like, you just wasn't in tune with this man carrying weapons and pulling them out on you before, because he's done it before. But this time he decided that I will pull the trigger. This time he decided to pull the trigger, and I feel like if we was having more conversations with our young men about domestic violence and about healthy relationships and what that entails, and about giving our young men emotional healthy spaces, my daughter and a whole lot of other people's daughters could be alive right now. They could be alive right now because they would have that same equal amount of education in terms of the conversation. But we've left so many men out of this conversation, generations of men out of this conversation, and we're still doing it. So we're still 400 years behind with having men be caught up emotionally with what's really going on with them. So when you telling the brother, you need to tap into yourself, you need to get yourself together, he like, what? Ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm good. A man to tell you in a minute, I'm good. And when he tell you that, that means he's bad. Okay? Because I'm good don't solidify no feelings. That's more like how your day went. Okay? But if that man telling you all the time, I'm good, something ain't right about that situation right there. Because some men come home and say, look, baby, I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted. I'm not receiving what's happening to me well. I feel stressed out. Like, I know I need some help. I need to go and talk to somebody about something that I'm going through. But we don't open that door for men to be able to do it. Every man say, I'm good.
Ashay. Yes, every man.
Every man say, I'm good.
And again,
I'll be saying, what does that mean? I'm good. Oh, what you mentioned? Day went good? Oh, no, I'm good. I'm good inside. What? Okay, something here ain't right. You got to figure that something there is not right. And that could be a potential red flag. Because things start showing up in that man. And also with a female, things can start showing up in them. They keep talking about, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. Okay, so you just don't nothing negative go on in your life. But then you start hanging out with this person, this male or female, you start seeing like, they good. I don't think so. But by this time, You 86 days in a relationship like sis was. You 86 days getting your ass beat. You know what I'm saying? By this time, off of a person saying that I'm okay, I got this, I'm straight, I'm good. You got to factor in that could be a potential red flag from a male perspective and a female perspective. Because they not telling you the words to match the feelings that could actually be going on, which is, I'm upset, I'm disappointed. I had more bad days than I do good days.
Ashay.
You know, but everybody got to wear that. For some reason, we feel like we got to wear the persona when we come to the dating table or when we come to the dinner table. We wear a persona. Everybody faking shit at the dinner table and the dating table. You can't get real conversation out of these people because they don't know who they are. You got to factor in that that's a red flag. And people say, well, Queen, what's another way that I could, chime in and notice if this person is, good or, semi-good or something? The family. Pay attention to the person's family because they're going to let you know off the break who that person is. Because you're going to start seeing stuff in the family. And they the ones who raise that male or that female. Pay attention to that because a lot of times the family be having red flags. And a lot of times you talk to the family, one of the family members might pull you out and say, look, so-and-so ain't always been right all their life, man. You got to watch them, man. They flick out on you, man. Don't tell them I said that, but I just want to, make sure you know that. You got to factor that that's a red flag and they not hating on your relationship. These people raise that child, raise that person, male or female. You got to factor in the red flags when we come to the dinner table and when we come to the dating table. And we suck at dating. I'm trying to, many of us do not know the 105 questions that we need to know when we come to that dating table. Spread it across 30 days. You don't know the first 5 questions that you're supposed to ask somebody when you come to the dating table. Everybody just comes to the table. I'm good. I'm straight. What? Okay, so we're gonna make love and we're gonna connect off I'm good, because that means something is bad. And don't let it be a one-night stand, honey, and then you go and try to make that a relationship, because then it's gonna be double the 86 days, sis. It's gonna be double 86 days that you wake up and then found yourself in an abusive relationship because you done connected off with somebody telling some I'm good all the time, I'm straight, I got it together, I work today, yeah, I'm about to lay down and take a nap. What? When does all the feelings come up and how this person coached through the day and if they got into any confrontations through the day and how did they calm themselves down throughout the course of the day? These things are important too at the dating table and at the dinner table. But we be fake as hell. Fake as hell. And we got old people that don't want to share their story with us, who need to be sharing their story with us because we need that story to know the other side of everything is not all good. My grandmother done been through something now. My daddy's mother done been through. My daddy done been through something. My mother done been through something now. Everybody ain't all good now every day, all day. Every time I talk to you, you talking about you all good. You got to factor in that that's a red flag. And the person don't actually know how to match words to feelings. They don't actually know how to do that. So they shut you up with the I'm good, I'm straight, now I'm about to take a nap. Or they hit you with when we gonna see each other, when you're free time. They hit you with all that, but don't never read your profile about what you want in a dating situation. See, so you got people, we got to get more better at communication about the hard topics. We do. We got to. I'm encourage you to get better at it because we don't communicate well. Emotionally, we don't communicate well and we don't communicate healthy. We communicate unhealthy. And we use all of these explicitives that the brain has no clue that that's a feeling. Motherfucker ain't no feeling. That's not a word to match your feeling. That's not it. I mean, the brain just looks at that as like, okay, all right, she's upset. He's upset. Now how you really feel? Can I get some words to go with your feeling? That means something in the dictionary, not something your mother and them made up and your grandmother and them, your father and them made up at the dinner table. Can I get some real words that go to the feeling that has a definition to the word? which will then begin to calm you down and help you rationalize what you're actually feeling. You can say, oh, okay, well, dang, I didn't even have no clue that was a trigger for me. And it made me feel so depressed or so upset or so discouraged or so alarmed or so calculating. Calculating is a real word. Our children feel calculating sometimes, and we must talk to them about these words. Because if we don't, we leave it open for predators to come and tell our children these words and use these words against our children to coach them and touch them in all kinds of spaces that they should not be touched, and have them doing all kinds of things that they should not be doing. And it's because we don't want to talk about the emotional words that hurt, that are associated with how we really feel about whatever we're going through, or whatever we've been through. And furthermore, whatever trauma we're going to go through coming forward, because the trauma ain't over. Long as you here on this earth, the trauma is never over. It's another one coming. We just got to get smarter at managing our triggers, understanding what they are, being able to communicate those triggers, and reaching out and saying, hey, Queen, I heard you talking about this conversation. I'm just curious to know more about me effectively communicating with myself. Because the effective communication gonna start with you. If you cannot communicate with yourself well and get yourself in check, you will not be able to communicate with others well. And that's including your children. Okay, so I want y'all to get smart out there. I'm sorry, sis. I had to go there. I'm sorry. I had to go part 2.
Listen, I'm not mad at you. Thank you, Queen. Thank you, Robin and Queen, for sharing your experiences and insight. Could you share a bit about how you went into leaving an abusive relationship you were in? Listen, because listen, Dr. Ivy, that counting, I tell you, if that counting, it did something to me, Dr. Ivy. Like that, when Robin said that, that's why I asked her. I said, Robin, like that counting.
So what made me leave is one morning I just woke up, I wasn't feeling right, because every time I would leave to go to work, he would move my pictures. And, Miss Ivy, I took a lot of pictures going to HIV conferences and stuff like that. So I posted a lot of my HIV pictures and things like that. So, and he would move it around. So I knew he was having company in my house. So this particular day, I didn't go to work. So I'm picking now. So I'm under investigation. I'm investigating him. I'm hot. So I'm picking with him. I'm starting with him. So I didn't go to work. And I told him, I said, you can get the fuck out of my house and you can go by that bitch. And I walked away and he hit me. And when he hit me, I instantly dialed 911. And that's when he was arrested. But that wasn't sufficient enough because I still was going inside of the jail to go see him. But when he talked to me and made me feel like I wasn't shit, even when I was putting money on the books, I was coming to see him, even though we had a restraining order. This man had pulled my hair out from the roots. I didn't have bald spots. He tried to bite the bottom of my lip off. I have pictures. And that day, what was sufficient enough was that day he talked to me like I wasn't shit while he was in prison around all those men. And he asked me for money. And excuse my expressions, I told him, I said, you better go suck some motherfucking dick for some money. I said, because I ain't giving you no money. And you better stop motherfucking calling me. You dead to me. And that was a wrap. And I left it like that. Because after that bitch went to jail, it wasn't no more days. It was just a wrap. You was just something to do. Because I was still doing me. You was just still something to do. I felt sorry for your stupid ass. I was trying to help you get into a little program. You know what I'm saying? He played on my heart a little bit, and I still felt like I owed him. You know what I'm saying? Or at least to help him get his shit together. Because I had, again, the resources. But I'm like, nah, fuck all that. You're going to have to get it how you live. So last year, during COVID-19, he's still in prison right now. He was sentenced to 6 years in state prison. So during COVID, when COVID first hit, he called and tried to get me to take the restraining order off him because he was trying to parole to my house. And he got his daddy to call me too. And I cussed all them motherfuckers out. So I knew I was done. I was done. That's how I was done. Ain't no more. Yeah, I think about him, but no, ain't no more. I can't go back to that. I cannot go back to that if I wanted to, because it's dangerous. It's dangerous. I never been with somebody that was jealous of a woman in my life. When a man is jealous of your grind and your hustle, he a dangerous man. He ain't to be trusted, and he will get another woman to turn on you with him. He a double-crossing ass man like that, and he was one of those dudes. And I know I can't fuck with him. I know, because there was many times I had the knife this close to his face and was about to take him, but I didn't. I just backed up. I said, you gonna get what you need. You gonna get what you need. Now he's still in prison. He don't even know his daughter that much. He don't know his kids like that. She don't even respect him. You know what I'm saying? And that's his fault. That ain't, So yeah, that's how I left him. I left him because he humiliated me while he was in jail around his cellmates. And he made me feel lower than low. And I felt stupid as fuck. And I said, you know what? Fuck this nigga. Excuse my expressions again. But that's what I said. And I meant that. And I just left him alone. I blocked every number, so he can't even the number that's asked you to put the money on the phone, they blocked too. Everybody blocked. All the numbers blocked. So nobody can call me for nothing. His people blocked, everybody blocked. Social media, all of them blocked. So I got rid of him like that. And it's feel good, because he's very, very toxic. I never seen somebody when he get angry. You ever seen Incredible Hulk? How when he get angry, he swell up? That's how he was. When he get angry, and he was muscular, and it looked like he gets swole when he's angry. The motherfucker transform into a demon or something. Like a muscular, he was a motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? And I would not go back to that. I would not go back to that. Either because if I do, it'll either be me or him. Each other. We'll both probably kill each other. Trying to get up out of there. It was too toxic.
Let me say this last thing in light of that. A lot of times when I work with victims, male and female, they don't realize that domestic violence is numbers, like sis is doing. Like you gotta count something. A lot of victims don't even realize that it's been 86 days because they're brainwashed, they're delusional, and they're not really themselves. So
shit, I'm playing my escape.
Yes, you was planning your escape. Exactly. So when you talking about devising a plan, you're gonna be on the countdown. My point exactly. Mm-hmm. You're gonna be counting down when you talking about devising that escape to get out that relationship. And you're gonna know when it's that time to exit that relationship because you got that date set. Like, I'm done. And I'm gonna do everything I need to do to exit this relationship to be done with this person, with this situation, with this drama. So a lot of times the exit, when you're doing your exit plan, you are on a countdown. Literally on a countdown. And you really can't share that with a lot of people, when you exiting like that, because y'all might have mutual friends, or, you just never know who your abuser could be talking to underneath, behind your back, or anything, somebody that you confident in. So you got to be really strategic in planning that escape and how you're going to escape the relationship. Now, there's some cases where women and men just leave. You just leave. One day you just up and you out of there. But that's not realistic for the average victim who's going through that. It's a buildup. It's a buildup because you start seeing more and more and more like this person is not who I thought they was. I think we got to get that in our mind. Like, this person is literally not who I thought they was. Like, this is not good anymore. So the victims go through that level. We want them to just leave. They may go back. We want them to just leave. They may go back because they got to get to that level to start seeing it for themselves and saying, this is not good for me. Like, I seriously need to be out of here within 60 days. Like, I need to be done within 60 days with this stuff. So a lot of times them numbers gonna come when you devise that plan. When you seriously ready to exit that relationship, oh yeah, you're gonna be checking that calendar and counting down them days when you trying to exit that relationship for permanently. Sis made a permanent exit within 86 days. And
But
actually,
I had to get tired though. It took him to knock me out though. It took him to knock me out. It took him to really knock me out to get it.
It's that buildup.
Yeah, that's what
It's
took.
that.
Yep.
It had to build up all the way to him knocking you out, and then you found.
Then you know what else? Do you know what else was the kicker too? Like, what else? When that night I walked through the house, my blood was on his shoes. Blood was splattered on the walls. And I'm like, what if this would have been a crime scene of my, would have killed me, and the sick part, that still wasn't sufficient enough because I still was going to see him.
You still was going
the insanity that I was living in, being with my abuser, and all because I felt like, okay, and I really thought he was gonna come home, and it's so much.
Yeah. It's the aftermath for domestic violence. You still got to tap in and see to make sure that your plan is secure. Like, you believe in your plan. Like, this person is not going to change, literally. So it may take you to go back and visit them, or you might end up having sex with them again. Something might pop off, and then you say, you know what, man, that's it. It's over. Like, it's done. It's nothing there. But a lot of times, again, victims do go back. They do go back. So, I mean, it's just, we got to be compassionate when we know that a victim is going through this, because it's so many emotional feelings tied to that. It's so much false hope tied to the fact that, okay, we hope this abuser get better. And they start seeing what they did to us. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's a male or female abuser, we hope they get better and start seeing what they did to us. The blood. We hope they see we see the blood. But do they see the blood? Do they really realize what they done to me? Because that was a little miniature crime scene, sis. That was a little miniature crime scene right there. If you would have called and reported him, they'd have forensics out there taking up the blood and stuff, sis. That was a miniature crime scene. You just alive. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times victims need to understand that it's not going to change. And it may take for them to go back. They may go back 1 or 2 times before they actually get it, that I'm done. You know what I mean? So we got to just be careful when we're dealing with these delicate situations.
Lord, we touched on generational PTSD, but we didn't call it out. So I know we're going to have to definitely have a part 2, because we really touched on generational PTSD. Queen and Robin talked about it. She was like my family inside my home. That's, she's a generation. Queen, you talked about a grandparent, then your father, then yourself. And I know that I still want you to answer Dr. Ivy's question, because it was asking you and Robin, and I didn't know if you wanted to comment from the perspective of being the victim. But like you said, I know when I'm the abuser. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to talk about how when you have to check yourself, or when enough is enough, And then Robin, I'm also going to tap back in because I don't say enough like I think I should when it comes to, because I definitely identify as queer. Anybody that knows me knows that I love anybody that respects my peace like I respect their peace, and it holds no gender. Um, However, I always tell people that the Black LGBTQIA plus people experience high levels of poverty, criminalization, health disparities, and exclusion in the U.S. Black trans American and gender non-conforming people in particular experience some of the highest levels of killing. So let me repeat that again. In the U.S., Black trans women and gender nonconforming people in particular experience some of the highest levels of killing, violence, poverty, police and criminalization, and incarceration in any group in the U.S. I say that sometimes at panels, and when people ask to interview me, I always keep that up as a sticky post because fuck you, but sue me. I'm rooting for everybody that's Black. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's important to really highlight and bring those things up. But sometimes I feel like I don't do a good enough job because I never talk about how, as Black families with religion and everything else, sometimes that's how we put our Black LGBTQIA plus family, out there because, of what religion say, or not even knowing sometimes, what I'm saying, how we were touched or how we were molested. So how we view, what I'm saying, another sex, and why we, but again, all these are part twos and part ones, but I definitely wanted to let you know, Robin, that I heard you. And I definitely want to bring everybody back to that conversation because, yes, I touch on it, but guess what? I don't do a good enough job. So thank you, Robin, for spiritually chin checking me on that, because I have to do more than just give that quote, and I do have to open it up and bring you and Queen and your family, what I'm saying, and friends to the table to really have this type of conversation, because a lot of times people look at me like I don't know what I'm talking about if I then try to pinpoint it, but it kind of starts from home, what I'm saying, why should we have to be out on the streets type of thing. So I definitely wanted to put that out there. But Queen, if you could please whatever perspective, if you want to give both of when you said, let me stop doing this or let me walk away from this.
Yeah, I got you, sis. I actually didn't leave an abusive relationship. What I did was I became the abuser. So I became the person that would beat your son up, with words, emotional, physical, and sex I would use as a pawn. But what happened was at my younger age, I think, of course I was in relationships where I was getting beat up and having black eyes and stomped out and all these kind of things that, happen in these relationships when you cray. And my best friend had got shot 5 times. So when she got shot 5 times, I said, hold up. All of the DNA from my grandmother and her grandmother and their grandmother going all the way down the line. Because my grandmother was feisty, okay, and would kick a man's tail. That came up in me. So DNA came up in me, and that wall came up in me that this will never happen to me. So I transitioned consciously to becoming the abuser. So I would then abuse the men that I got in relationships with, to dictating everything about their psyche, because the object is that I get into the mind. See, while you worried about how I physically look, and you worried about his physical black eyes and scratches and stuff, it's all up in here where I'm at. It's all emotional where I am. Ruling your child, ruling that man, your son, maybe it's your father, your uncle, I don't know, but it was one of them, ruling that person, taking over emotionally, whatever that man thought he was going to feel. And no, he wasn't going to talk to nobody who I felt like would cause that to be disrupted. So I became the person to enforce that psychological, mental, and emotional abuse all in one, all mean the same thing. All mean the same thing. In the psyche of that person's mind and feelings. This is where the abuser go. This is where we stay. This is where we can live for years and years and years. And nobody will never know it. Nobody, because there's no visible proof. The only way you would know is if you see that I blacked this out, or if he told you she blacked my eye, or if he told you that I cut him, I stabbed him. If he told you that, that's the only way you're going to, or if I'm locked up, because I done got some lockup. So if I'm locked up, okay, then you know where she didn't hit this man up again. Okay, so, but none of that stuff don't phase the abuse. None of that. Long as we up here and then that emotional, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I want to do to that person. Yes, I am, and it's not gonna be nothing you could tell him. And you, as the parent, be saying, I can't tell him nothing about this woman. I can't tell her nothing about this man. And literally, you cannot, because the abuser is all up in the psyche of that victim's mind. And that's where I was. So I transitioned. Now, how did I break that cycle? I almost killed my son. I almost killed my son when he was 2 months old. And I could have killed my son. I could have killed myself, and I could have killed some pedestrians, out in the road. But luck of the Lord, I fell asleep behind the wheel with my foot on the brake. I fell out. I passed out. So, and what happened was I went, as time went on, I started saying, why is you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs? Like, what's really going on with you? Because you just jeopardized your son's life. Like, this boy just got into the earth. What are you doing? So that started to play on my mind. And they gave me a reckless endangerment charge, 5 to 15 years. So I went and got the report to find out what the world I done to my child. Because this is crazy. When it started getting into that level, and I'm that mother telling me, oh, I never hurt my children. I'm not going to tolerate nobody doing nothing to my children, saying nothing to my child. But I put my son in a messed up situation. So I had to fix that. I had to write that because that was wrong. I had to write that wrong, and I had to write that wrong immediately. And I had to do whatever I had to do to write that wrong because it wasn't right. And at this time, my daughter was 6 years old, but she wasn't in that car. My 2-month-old baby was in that car. Okay, so that's what woke me up. It made me say, oh, Lord, aside from, the charges I was facing, yeah, that helped a bit, but what woke me up was the thought of me endangering my child. That's what got to me. Thank you for letting me share.
Thank you. If not us, then who? You know what I'm saying? And I know it's gonna be some people that's like so appreciative. Be like, I'm Robin. You know what I'm saying? I'm Queen. Like you just never know, because like at the end of the day, like that be me. That's how I reached out to Queen. You know what I'm saying? Or I know I swear to God, I'm waiting for my friend to view this and be like, motherfucker, I'm Robin. So I'm just, it's just I thank your souls, I thank your spirits for just shining so that we can like see the light, and gravitate towards it, and also be that constellation and transition that way.
All right. Well, thank y'all. And thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for the support, Miss Sonia, Miss Ivy, and Callie. I really appreciate y'all. Queen and Tori, thank you so much for inviting me to this crosstalk session. I really appreciate it. And the people that's on this call, I feel like we can make an impact. We are some powerful women.
Thank you. This has been beautiful. I'm going to say my piece and get out of here.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Pop.